All right, is Facebook just a breeding ground for jealousy? Polls show that people in relationships keep track of their partner's status, friends, and if they've accepted any messages from old flames. This new age of digital friendships can be putting some strain on real-world relationships. Patrick Markey is an associate professor of psychology at Villanova. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So how about it? Dangerous to give your romantic partner your password?
Well, it certainly could be. I mean, with Facebook, it even goes beyond the password, though, because even if your romantic partner is simply your friend on Facebook, they still have access to your wall postings and get to see all the messages written by you as well as others. And so another question is simply, is it wise to make your romantic partners your friends on Facebook?
Oh, good point. But then, if you don't, it looks like you're hiding something, right? I mean, even if you put controls on there so your partner or love interest or whoever, you kind of filter what they can see, doesn't it look a little suspicious, and that could cause further, problems and arguments?
It certainly could, you can imagine. In fact, there's usually 3 criteria that lead to a person of being very jealous, and one is the relationship itself. So relationships that are longer term tend to have less jealousy. The next is the personality of the individuals, because certainly some individuals tend to be more jealous than other people. And the final are situational factors, which are like behaviors that a person does. So if a person, say, looks at a person of the opposite sex, or perhaps past behaviors might make their mates jealous. And in Facebook, those type of situational factors are abundant, that people who are your friends are going to witness, or your romantic partner might witness you talking to individuals of the opposite sex they don't know, or even potentially ex-romantic partners they don't know.
And I was at a wedding 2 weeks ago that had to be rescheduled after a year lapse because, he was about, the groom was about to get married. He's like, let me just, catch up with a couple old flames. The fiance saw that. She's like, that's it. It was called off. Good news, they're married. Everything's fine now. But, still, I mean, it can be dangerous getting in touch with old flames, right?
Yeah, it certainly can. I mean, of course, a lot of the problem could be in why you're getting in touch with old flames. Right, is it to try to rekindle an old romance, or is this old flame legitimately a friend who you happen to date? In which case, if that's a situation and your mate tends not to be a jealous person and your relationship is pretty smooth, it's probably not a big issue to friend old flames. Of course, if your mate is very jealous and maybe the relationship's a little rocky to start off with, this certainly might make those factors even more problematic.
Well, and those conditions that you just described can also really come to play when you change your relationship status, right? I mean, that can be something that really gets new flames, old flames, whoever, kind of bent out of shape.
Yeah, you have to time that perfectly. In fact, there's just a study that came out a little while back where they looked at individuals and saw how much time they spent looking at their romantic partner's profiles on Facebook. And what they found was individuals who spent a lot of time looking at their romantic partner's profiles, so seeing who they're talking to and so forth, reported much higher levels of jealousy than individuals who didn't spend as much time doing that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who've been in relationships, and they jokingly call it cyber stalking, but they're very aware of what's going on with their old flames. Either way, Patrick Markey, we all have to be careful what we put on Facebook or don't put on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, speaking of faces, the